Selamünaleyküm. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Salatu vesselamu ala Resulina Muhammedin seyyidil evveli ve ahirin. Meded ya Resul, meded ya Saadet Resul, meded ya Meşahin Desturuna, Sh.Allah fazla sana Sh.Muhammad al-Rahmن, meded tarikatına ve sahbına hayır fil cemiye. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ve lekad kerramna beni Adil Muhammeden fil berri vel bahr. Sadakallahu al-azim. Allah Azze ve Celle insanoğlu tekrim etmiş, onurlatmış.
Allah Almighty honored humanity. Allah Almighty gave honor and dignity to humankind.
İnsanoğlu mükerremdir Allah indinde.
Allah Almighty made the human being to be honorable in the divine presence.
Kıymetli varlıktır. Kıymetini bilmiyor.
Humans are beings who have been honored, but people are unaware of and do not appreciate that honor given by Allah Almighty.
İnsanoğlu onun için kıymetsiz şeyler yapınca
Instead, people do things that do not have value.
kendi de kıymeti kalmıyor.
And as people do things which do not have value, people themselves lose their value and become without any value.
Hiç faydası olmuyor.
They do things which are useless.
O başka yollara gidince
And then they follow other ways which are not the way of Allah Almighty.
Allah Azze ve Celle'nin yolunu bırakıp da başka
They abandon the way of Allah Almighty.
yerlerde kendisine ikram edecekler, şey yapacaklar diye
And they look for other ways where they think and hope that they will be receiving favors by others.
gidince orada hiçbir şey bulmaz.
However, when they then go to those places and follow these ways where they hope to find honors and favors, they will find out that there is nothing.
Aldatmadan, kandırmadan başka bir şey
They will realize that they have been deceived and cheated upon.
bulmaz insanoğlu. Doğru Allah Azze ve Celle'nin yolunda olsa
However, if people follow straightforwardly the way of Allah Almighty only,
o ikramdır, o güzel şey
then they would find the honors and divine favors given by Allah Almighty to them.
ona olur. Onu yolu bırakıp da başka yollara gidip kendisine ikram olunacak, kendisine
However, people, they deviate and go astray from the way of Allah Almighty, and they look for other ways, hoping that they will find blessings and favors and honors there.
şey yapacak. O hepsi menfaat.
However, there are no honors and favors to be found on any other way except the way of Allah Almighty. All you will find on any other way is personal interest and personal gain
olarak oluyor. Menfaatten başka şey değil.
All the other ways which are not the way of Allah Almighty will only lead you to personal interest, to personal gain and self-profit.
İslam dini insana hürmet vermiş.
The religion of Islam has honored humankind.
Onu hürmetle etmiş.
Allah, the religion of Islam considers humanity to be honorable with dignity.
Onun emeğini, kıymetini bilmiş.
And the religion of Islam ensures to honor the works and efforts of a human being.
Allah Peygamber sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem diyor, çalışanın teri kurumadan parasını, ücretini verin diyor.
Our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says, therefore, give the worker his salary, his recompensation, before the sweat of his work dries.
Yani o vakit bundan 1500-1400 sene önce hiçbir şeyin kıymeti yoktu.
1,400 years ago, before the time of our beloved Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, nothing and no one did have any value.
Çalıştırır, at köle olarak alır, çalıştırıp şey yapılır.
People were made to work by force as slaves, for example.
Ondan sonra da boğaz tokluğuna mı artık hiç vermeden mi olurdu? o vakit bile
and then they would hardly get any recompensation at all for what they did, or they would not even get any salary at all.
Allah Azze ve Celle'nin çünkü kanunu insanlar için ta ezelden yarattıkları vakitten kanun aynıdır.
However, the laws and rulings of Allah Almighty, they have existed since pre-eternity, and those rulings and laws of Allah Almighty have been the same.
İkram olmuş.
And Allah Almighty has honored humankind and has given them and blessed them as favors.
Mükerrem bir varlıktır insanoğlu.
And Allah Almighty from pre-eternity has honored humankind and has made humans to be honorable beings with dignity and honor.
Onun kıymetini bilmesi lazım.
And people must appreciate the honor and dignity of their fellow people.
Yaratana şükretmesi lazım.
And people must be thankful for this honor they have been given by their Creator.
Onun verdiği her şeye şükretmek lazım.
And we must be thankful for everything Allah Almighty gave to us.
Senede bir gün değil.
And we must show our gratitude not only just once per year.
Her gün.
Every day we must show our gratitude.
Şükretmek lazım. Senede bir gün dedi milleti kandırmaktır, başka bir şey değil.
And now we see how they thank people once per year, but thanking people just once per year is just deception.
Allah Azze ve Celle ikram etmiş bütün vakit.
Allah Almighty has honored humanity all the time.
O insanoğlu kıymetini bilmesi lazım.
And Allah Almighty gives humankind His favors all the time, and people must appreciate these honors and favors.
Başka insanların lafıyla yoldan çıkıp
people should not be deceived by other people's words which make them go astray from the right way.
İsyan etmemesi lazım.
And people should not come up against their Lord Allah Almighty, and they should not oppose Allah Almighty.
Yolda olan yolunu bulur.
The one who follows the way of Allah Almighty will have found the right way.
Yoldan çıkan tehlikeye girer.
And those who deviate from the way of Allah Almighty, they're moving towards danger.
Allah muhafaza etsin.
May Allah Almighty protect us.
İnsanlar daima menfaat, dünya insanı.
People are constantly after and chasing after personal interest and profit.
Dünya için, menfaat için peşinden düşer.
And people are in the pursuit of personal gains for the sake of this world, to make profit for themselves.
İşte bir yerde bir şey olunca dünya menfaatı burası bize zarar verecek diye kıskançlık olur. Onu mahvetmeye, onu.
And it is that humans' drive of self-interest and that pursuit of personal gain and profit that makes people to become jealous of each other and to not like each other, to that extent that they fight each other and that they want to destroy each other because of that envy.
Ortadan kaldırılmaya uğraştılar. Yani birbirlerini yerler.
And people literally eat each other because of their envy and jealousy.
İslam öyle değil. İslam kardeşliktir.
But this is not how the religion of Islam is. Islam teaches us brotherhood.
Her şeyi paylaşmaktır.
Islam teaches us to share everything with our fellow people.
Hakkını, hukukunu vermektir.
And Islam teaches us to respect each other's rights. And to give everything what is due.
Hak, hukuk çok mühimdir İslam'da.
It is most important to respect each other's rights and to give people what is due.
Kul hakkı en büyük, Allah hakkından daha büyüktür.
And Allah Almighty has honored the rights of people to that extent that He Almighty Allah prioritizes the rights of people over His own rights.
Allah Azze ve Celle diyor, ben affederim. Kul hakkı, kul kendisi affetmesi lazım.
Allah Almighty therefore says, I may forgive your sins and your wrongdoings, but when it comes to you having violated another person's rights, then you must seek the forgiveness of that person.
Ondan helallik alması lazım.
If you have violated the rights of other people, you must ask those people for forgiveness.
Allah Azze ve Celle Gafur Rahim'dir.
Allah Almighty, He is the most merciful and the most forgiving one.
İnsanoğlu öyle değil.
However, people, they are not that way.
İnsan olabilir, seni affetmez.
And it may happen that people, if you have violated their rights, that they may not forgive you.
Hakkını helal etmez. O vakit senin işin zordur.
And if they do not forgive you, then you will have then you will be in a very difficult situation.
Allah Azze ve Celle tövbe istiğfar edersin.
You may ask Allah Almighty for forgiveness, for pardon.
Hakkına girmedikten sonra sen kurtulursun.
And you will be forgiven. Allah Almighty will forgive you unless you have violated other people's rights.
Kul hakkına girdin mi? O tehlikelidir. Allah muhafaza etsin.
However, if you have violated other people's rights, then that is dangerous. May Allah Almighty protect us from such a thing.
İnsan kimsenin hakkını yemeyle.
May Allah Almighty protect us from violating any person's rights.
Kimsenin emeğini boşa çıkarmayalım inşallah.
And may Allah Almighty protect us from not giving people what is their due right. And may Allah Almighty protect us from not recompensating people with what they deserve.
Allah bizim emeğimizi de mahfuz etsin.
And may Allah Almighty preserve our efforts too.
Kıymetli etsin inşallah.
And may Allah Almighty make what we do to be honorable.
Ve minallah tevfik. El-Fatih.